Greeting Heart of Antiracism participants. My name is Lucas Hergert, and I am the minister of the Shore Unitarian Church. And I have been very pleasantly surprised to see that 45 people have signed up for this program, many from our congregation, some from the wider community, and some from the Unitarian Universalist congregation that's in Geneva. I want to welcome all of you. We are thrilled that you're here. This is such important work that we're about to engage on together. It's really good to have you. I want to give an introduction today to this program and what it's all about. The Heart of Antiracism emerged out of conversations that I have been having with the racial justice team here at the Shore Unitarian Church since the death of George Floyd. Our desire has been to find a way to have meaningful conversations about race and racism and what we as a predominantly white congregation can do to move a bit closer to justice. The program is largely based around Ibram Kendi's book, How to Be an Antiracist. If you have not yet purchased a copy, you can do so through the UUA bookstore and elsewhere. I personally like the activist focus of Kendi's work. He's less interested in personal psychology and much more interested in the concrete actions that we can do to change our world into a less racist one. That activist thread will carry through the work that we do together in this program, culminating in an action that each group will take to promote an anti-racist outcome in our community. More on that will be forthcoming. The central goal of this program is to engage anti-racism as a lifelong spiritual practice. And as I have been developing this program with the racial justice team, I have given a lot of thought to what that means. I think each word in it is important. It's lifelong because there is never a point where we will be done with this work. There's always something more that we can learn. There is always something more that we can do for anti-racism. And there's something freeing in this because it means that we don't have to learn everything about anti-racism in this program. It means that not everything about the complexities of racism in the United States are going to be covered in this program. That would be impossible for any program. Instead, this program is just one step along the way in the journey towards wholeness and the journey towards justice. Also, it's lifelong because this issue of racism in our society is deep and complex, and there are no simple answers to it. We won't offer any simplistic answers here, such as the problem of racism is really about class, or the problem of racism is really people not teaching their children right. All of those answers are too simplistic and miss important dimensions of how racism functions in our society. Now, this program is spiritual in that it engages more than just our mind. It's more than just learning a history or learning some sociological facts. I think of spirituality as that which engages our whole selves. And so this program engages the emotional and bodily parts of ourselves as well. Race and racism can be painful topics to discuss. They can bring up negative and complicated feelings. They can express themselves in tense muscles, constricted voice, and a quick heartbeat. Part of this being a spiritual practice is that we won't pretend that the body and the emotions and the well-being of the spirit aren't a part of this conversation. They are. And we will try not to flinch when difficult feelings come up and instead try to create a space where we can hold them. Part of this program will be creating a brave space where we can do exactly that. And lastly, anti-racism is a practice. It's a practice just like the violin is a practice, just like soccer is a practice, just like the piano is a practice, just like ballet is a practice. You get better by doing it. If you never exercise your anti-racist muscle, then when you are called upon to do so, it's going to be inelegant. For example, if you say something painful and problematic about people of color, you may not handle the situation skillfully. But the more we practice anti-racism and the more we learn about the effects of racism and the ways that we can be allies for anti-racism, the more skillful our interactions become and the more resilient we become when we make mistakes and fail. And let me say that a part of this being a practice is that we will make mistakes and fail. All practices have mistakes and failure as a part of them. That's how we learn and get better. And a part of this being a practicing community is that we will hold one another in tenderness and in accountability as we strive to do better when we make those mistakes. So this is why I say that anti-racism is a lifelong spiritual practice. And what I have found is that this lifelong spiritual practice, sometimes it's hard work. Maybe many times it's hard work. There is a lot of challenge and humility that goes into doing this kind of work. But this kind of work can also be exhilarating. I have found that as a white person, when I challenge the ways that I have been socialized into whiteness, I discover a deeper, richer, more generous, and more integrated life, a way to live a life with more spiritual integrity. And that, I think, is the promise of this work. That is what we will be accomplishing together as we begin this journey and this work. Now, to wrap up, there are a few logistics. You should have received an email by now from your group leader with some details about the first session. You will want to read the introduction and the first chapter of Ibram Kendi's book. And stay tuned for the Zoom link for your session. That should be coming out shortly if it hasn't arrived already. Again, I am so looking forward to this program this year with all of you. It is such a worthwhile effort that we are engaging in together. Be well, my friends. More soon.